Hello and welcome to Eastern Horizon. This is Malika Yubsumbul, and we are doing a very special program today on the major strategical shift between Afghanistan and Russia, in which there is some major strategical cooperation has been signed between Kabul and Moscow. To discuss this, I have joined a very powerful panel who has deep knowledge of all these strategical developments. From Moscow, I have joined Fred Weir. He is expert of the Russian foreign policy, has been covering and witnessing major Russian foreign policy affairs. From Ankara, I have joined by Dr. Fazl Hadi Wazeen. He is a former professor of Salam University. Right now, he is in Ankara. From Islamabad, I have joined by Tahir Khan. He is an expert and he's a former journalist and also have a very strong grip on Afghanistan affairs. So thank you very much for this panel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let me go to Fred Weir. So how you see that two formers Moscow and Kabul, who had a quite very sour history. How you see this cooperation, especially this major strategical shift between Moscow and Kabul?
Well, this strategic shift has been underway for some time. Russia was the first country in the world to recognize the Taliban government. They've moved rather quickly to cement relations in a multidimensional way. And this agreement that was signed on Wednesday at the Moscow International Security Forum was probably intended to advance that process, but it's mostly symbolic, even though we don't know the details of the agreement. It probably includes intelligence sharing, anti-terrorist cooperation, because they both face the ISIS threat. But in the bigger picture for Russians, the issue of securing their eastern and southern flanks is very important, especially with the escalating confrontation in the West over the Ukraine war and very badly fraying relations with Europe. So this is part of a strategy. I'm sure we'll see much more developments in this way, the Russians sort of reaching out to the Taliban, normalizing relations with them. But at the moment, it wouldn't probably be like major arms sales or anything like that. Neither side is in a position to do that. But yes, an ongoing process. And I think in Russia, they have a bigger strategy in mind.
So, Dr. Wazeen, how you see that Kabul interpretation of this cooperation? Because Kabul and Islamabad are in quite bad mood right now. So, how you see that the Kabul interpretation of this cooperation?
Thank you very much, Mr. Malik, for inviting us. And once again, I say salam to your respected guests. Actually, this treaty or agreement, which is signed between Afghanistan and Russia, although it is symbolic and details are not known till now, it is significant important because as I know that this is the first kind of this agreement which is signed between Afghanistan and any foreign country. This is number one. And also Russia is an important country for Afghanistan because it has the first and the only and first country which has recognized the current government in Afghanistan. And also it is from other, as we see from other aspect perspective, it is also Russia has interests in Afghanistan. Number one, this is Russia wants historically because Russia and Afghanistan has been during the Soviet Union, even the Tsar during the Tsarian era in Russia, Afghanistan has borders with Russia, sharing long borders. And even during the Soviet Union era and after the occupation of Afghanistan by the Soviet Union in 80s and afterward, I think that Russia has a lot of interest in Afghanistan from the geopolitical point of view, from the security point of view, and also some economic interest also in Afghanistan. The most important thing for Russia is that to have a close relationship with the current Afghanistan authority, because Russia wants, as your respected guest has mentioned before, that Russia wants to secure its southern borders, number one. Number two, that Russia doesn't want that the Afghanistan should be pushed to the Western, to the America and Western Europe and America, which is also as a crisis facing Russia in Ukraine. This is number two. So therefore, and also there is ISIS is a big element. Therefore, I think that although the details are not known, but I think it is important for the Russia and also important for Afghanistan. It may open the door, maybe encourage other countries which also go to this treaty because it's a beginning. But as it is concerned with Pakistan, I think that has nothing to do with Pakistan directly because this is Afghanistan is a sovereign country. It has the right to have agreements with different countries according to their national security, national interests of Afghanistan. Although there is also the tension between Pakistan and Afghanistan, but I think it is not related to the Pakistan directly. This is we should, and also the Afghan authorities doesn't want. Today we have also some news that the Afghanistan authority they want to de-escalate that there is no this agreement is not related to Pakistan. And also another point which was mentioned by the Mullah Yaqub, the defense minister, current defense minister, he said that in his interview when he arrived to Kabul, he said that that because our most of weapons in Afghanistan was Russian made by Russian made weapons in Afghanistan. So therefore, we need to repair and activate all this weaponry in Afghanistan. Therefore, this was agreement, and I think this is important. This is the beginning. It is important for Afghanistan. Also, it's important for Russia to enter a new era. Although there is also some observation as well, because when in the 60s, when Afghanistan and Soviet Union had a close military relationship, and that military relationship ended to the April coup in Afghanistan, and communists came to power, and also the officers which were trained in Soviet Union, they were the most people who played a big role, important role in communist coup in Afghanistan, and it was a beginning of the very dark era in Afghanistan. So this is other observations are also there, and some Afghan observers. This is my last point to mention it. Some Afghan observers insist that Afghanistan should keep equal distance from all different regional international powers and keep its neutrality and the regional tensions, because Afghanistan is a virtual country. We don't want to enter any problem with our neighbors, our intention with our neighbors, another regional power or international power. This should be, the current authority should keep this also in mind.
Okay. So, Tahir Khan, how you see, that this cooperation, especially in Islamabad, how you interpret it, and because Dr. Wazeen said that there is not any potential threat to Pakistan from this cooperation. So how you would like to evaluate?
Thank you for inviting me, and best regards to you and to your honorable guest. When Mullah Yaqub returned to Kabul after attending the conference in Moscow, he mentioned only Pakistan. I would not say that this, as Dr. Wazeen was saying, it is not Pakistan specific, and I agree with him. But when a minister who was there when this agreement was signed, and he mentioned Pakistan, although he is right to say this, because this is the right of every country to defend their countries and to have weapons from any country. When any country agrees to sell or to provide you weapons. But he mentioned Pakistan. When he mentioned Pakistan, that Pakistan, according to him, was free a few months ago to strike anywhere in Afghanistan. And according to Mullah Yaqub, in the near future, Pakistan will not have that power to strike again like this. And he's right to say this because Pakistan itself always said that they have the right to defend itself and to act in defense. But I think this agreement, which is not, we don't have any details of the agreement. And now Mullah Yaqub has clarified that this is not defense agreement, this is not a security agreement, but this is according to him, a military and technical agreement. So maybe details could come later, but symbolically it is important for the Taliban and also for Russia. Because, the counter-terrorism would be one of the major factors behind this agreement. And you would recall that last year, President Putin, when he was in Astana, so he called the Afghan Taliban their Russia allies against terrorism. And this statement came in July 2000 last year, a few months after the attack in Moscow, and that attack was claimed by IS Daesh Khorasan. So this is also, I think, as the honorable guest said, that intelligence sharing may be one of the factors behind this agreement. But I think, Mullah Yaqub, this point was very valid, that Afghanistan has Soviet or the Russian weapons, and they need to repair those weapons. And for this, this agreement was necessary for Afghanistan, for this government. And I think Russia has given them a message that the Taliban government, they are not alone. They are not isolated. So, and Russia would be definitely also trying to find markets for its arms, but we don't know some people say that when he mentioned Pakistan and Pakistani strikes in Afghanistan last year in October, this year in March, so maybe Russia could provide some weapons, air defense system, or drones, or some parts of drone to make drones, manufacture drone in Afghanistan. So, but we will wait for. This is important for Russia to give some satisfaction to the Afghan Taliban, and this is good for Taliban. This is also important for Taliban that they can tell the world. But last point, we don't know yet the reaction from the US, the reaction from the European Union, and also formal reaction from Pakistan. But this would be a challenge for a Taliban government because they still have very good relation with the US. And when we speak to the Taliban people in Kabul or from here, or when we visit them, they still want very good relation with the US. And yesterday, Mullah Yaqub also said that his government would be willing to have similar agreements with the US and other countries. Brazil also he mentioned, because he was saying that Afghanistan has American weapons and also Brazilian weapons. So let's see what happened. It will be challenge for the Taliban government how the US react to this agreement.
So, Fred Weir, let me come to you. That US was intended to get the Bagram base. So I think Donald Trump mentioned this thing. And as Tahir Khan mentioned, that the Taliban enjoying mean that the good relation with Americans simultaneously with other nations. So how you think that Russia have the leverage after this agreement to make and to streamline its relation with Kabul?
I think that in the bigger picture, Russia is trying to create or taking the lead in creating an alternative world order. And this conference in Moscow is a good example that occurred last week. It is like a full-fledged attempt to create an alternative to the Munich Security Conference. And in all these respects, the Afghanistan and tightening relations with Afghanistan, it fits in. It fits into that bigger picture. But the Russians and I think the Chinese as well are going to be very nervous about any renewed American presence there, such as having Bagram Air Base. You will recall that in the early years of this century, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization got together to eject the Americans from former Soviet Central Asia, to leave their air bases and so on. Keeping the Americans out of Central Asia is a big priority, I think, in both Beijing and Moscow. And it probably shouldn't be so hard in the present environment where the Americans are bogged down in the Middle East and not doing well. Their credibility is hemorrhaging. And so I think that calculation in Moscow is that they can court Afghanistan, be Afghanistan's friend and sponsor to some extent. You noticed that last week, Sergei Shoigu also called for the unfreezing of Afghan assets that had been seized in the West. So that is Russia's plan. And I understand that Afghanistan's idea is a multi-vector foreign policy, be friends with everyone in order to stimulate Afghan development and security. This is all perfectly normal and so on. But at the moment, I think that Russia is taking the lead in redeveloping relations with Afghanistan. They have their own very big ideas about how Afghanistan would fit in to their advancing their world project. And it remains to be seen. I don't think that Afghanistan is that important to anybody at the moment, but it sits at the pivot of Asia. And of course, it's going to be important down the road. And the Russians just now are trying to get the inside track.
Professor Wazeen, as we mentioned that there is some Russian weapons that Taliban said that they might get some parts, or they're repairing or something like that. But there is also a lot of massive and very sophisticated American weapons that left over in Afghanistan, for which Pakistan accused and several times. So why Taliban's need multiple types of weapons? So who is the prime target for Taliban's, and what exactly the Kabul intention in getting and strengthening its defense?
Afghanistan's in need of diversity of its relationship with different countries. Also, Afghanistan doesn't want to be dependent on one or two sources for the weapons. And this is not for we in Afghanistan see that this is not in the interest of Afghanistan to be dependent in one source, as we did this in the 60s and 70s with the Soviet Union, which is not, we do not want to repeat the same mistake at that time. This is also important. And also this is Afghanistan now wants to have a different relationship with the different countries like USA, China, Russia, and different regional countries, because we found it that through our experiences that having a good relationship and not be isolated, it is in the high interest of Afghanistan. And this is because, but with Russia, of course, which is have the lead for time being, has recognized the current authority in Afghanistan, the current government in Afghanistan, also had signed the first kind of this, the first agreement of this kind. So that I think if as authorities are saying clearly that we want also the same agreements with the United States as well, and also there is the relation of Kabul relation is improving with the diplomatic relation with the European Union, and also there is improving relationship with China and Beijing as well. So I think this is the policy of current authorities in Afghanistan, and the weapon is not. This is one element, and this is although the Russian weapons in Afghanistan, these are too old. Yeah, some kind is out of date. Yeah, it is there. It is there. It's important for Afghanistan, for a country like Afghanistan, which is need. But I think this is to to diversify the sources of weapons and also to extend the relationship with different countries. It is in the benefit of Afghanistan. We in Afghanistan see from this perspective, from this angle to this kind of issues. And also regarding the Pakistan, we said that the Pakistan and Afghanistan, these are two brotherly neighbor countries. Afghan, two brotherly nations, which are have a a lot of commons in religion, culture, history, language, ethnicity, interest, mutual interest between the countries. So I think this is, we think that the relation of what is this tension, current tension in the relation between Afghanistan and Pakistan, it is not some kind, it is a temporary situation. And still there is a big hope that the authorities in Kabul, in Islamabad, they realize that the escalation of this tension is not in the benefit of the Afghanistan and Pakistan, and also is not in the benefit of the region, which is all have enough tensions and worse. What's happening in Iran, the war was imposed by USA and Israel on Iran, and this is the Gulf era. So therefore, I think this agreement should not be seen as something which is against Pakistan or any other specific country, but I do realize that because there's a tension between Afghanistan and Pakistan was struck by Pakistan many times. Even the capital Kabul was bombed by Pakistani airplane, which was acknowledged by Pakistani authorities. So some people are mentioning that because this is of that. And what was said by Defense Minister Mullah Yaqub also, because it was when he was asked that, and also of course it's natural when you are getting weapons to defend yourself. Of course, it is any other country which you have the right to use it to defend yourself. It is very natural. I think it's not something extraordinary. So therefore, I think this is. I think that this is a beginning of new chapter in the Afghanistan international relation, which was started with Russia, and we should see it as positive and a positive. And of course, Afghanistan, as I mentioned before, is a sovereign country. It has the right to sign agreements with different countries. It doesn't mean that it's against such a specific country like Pakistan has treaties with Saudi Arabia recently, with the defense treaty with Saudi Arabia, with China, with the United States of America, European countries, Turkey. So it doesn't mean we in Afghanistan don't see that this is against us in Afghanistan, because Pakistan, Iran doesn't. At the same time, what is doing Afghanistan is should not be seen that it is against Pakistan, and our Pakistani brothers should be. We should assure them that there is nothing like this. And also, actually, Afghanistan doesn't want from the beginning any tension with the Pakistan. Why we should fight each other? Why we should fight each other? What is the interest? So therefore, as we always call on the authorities in Kabul and Islamabad to sit together, talk to each other, and find solutions to all disputed matters between two brotherly countries.
So Tahir Khan, Dr. Wazeen said that this is the beginning of a new chapter in Afghanistan. So how you see this chapter being unfold in Islamabad? Because in case of any, that the skirmishes are the Pakistani strikes, what do you think that the reaction from the Kabul would be expected?
We don't know yet, because we will wait what is in the agreement, and because the guest and also many people believe that this agreement between Russian Federation and the Taliban is mostly political and symbolic. But let's see what happens. And as we all, I think, would agree that every country has the right to strike any deal with any country. And Pakistan itself always say that it doesn't have any objection about the relation between two countries, unless it is against Pakistan. So I don't think that there would be any concern in Pakistan about this agreement, because Russia also is not now, because both were rival during the Cold War. But now Russia provided some military helicopters to Pakistan, and almost every year or after 2 years there are giant exercises, military exercises in Pakistan and sometime in Russia. So Pakistan and Russia also now enjoy very good relationship. And Pakistan balanced policy during the Ukraine war. So there is no issue between Russia and Pakistan also. And I don't think that agreement between the Taliban and the and Russia, there would be any concern in Islamabad. Still, we don't have any official reaction from the Pakistani Foreign Office. Because yesterday we tried to get reaction from Pakistan, but we did not receive any reaction from Pakistani side. So this is one. The second thing is Russia relation with the Taliban are not new. Even before the Taliban took control of Kabul, you would know that it was Russia which introduced Taliban to some extent on international forum. And I still remember that when Russia started the Moscow format consultations, so they invited the Taliban political office in 2017 and 2018. And the Taliban political advice, they traveled to Moscow and they joined 11 countries, and Pakistan was also there. So Russia had very old relationship with the Taliban, and I think the main factor was stability. And that time, definitely, because everyone knew that Taliban and the US would start talks at some stage, and they did. In 2018, when they started negotiation. So there was a trust level that time even between Russia and the Taliban. And I still remember when the Taliban were about to sign the agreement, 2020 agreement, Doha agreement, the Taliban visited Russia to take them into confidence. So all these relations are very, very old. And Russia main concern is Russia doesn't want instability again in Afghanistan when the Soviet troops left Afghanistan. And after the withdrawal, there was Dr. Wazeen definitely knows these things better than everyone, that there was infighting in Afghanistan and during the Mujahideen. This is a reality. And the second thing is instability in Afghanistan could destabilize Central Asian countries. Still, Afghanistan and Tajikistan, although not a very serious problem, but some problem along the border in Russia has been helping the Tajikistan to secure the border with Afghanistan, because there were several recent attacks, what the Tajikistan says from Afghan side into Tajikistan, the border region. Some Chinese were also killed in those attacks. So Russia doesn't want instability in Central Asia, and that's why this is that. And one point already discussed, Russia will never want the Taliban government should go closer to the West. Although I don't think that American would be very interested to have very deep relation with the Taliban. They also interested to secure the release of their prisoners, and they did. The Taliban released several of American nationals. But Taliban are asking them to release the last Afghan national who is believed still in Guantanamo, Muhammad Rahim. But Americans have not released them. Even Taliban released almost 4 American nationals over the past few years. So all these things. So Islamabad, I don't think would be very concerned about this. And let's see what happened when more details are coming of this. But Pakistan problem is, Pakistan, I would say, has genuine concern about the militant groups, because Pakistan never accepted that things would be very bad after the Taliban take over in Afghanistan. I would not blame Afghan Taliban, because security in Pakistan, in Peshawar, in Lucky Marwat, in Rawalpindi, in Karachi, Islamabad, this is Pakistan's responsibility. This is not, we cannot blame for any attack in any area in Pakistan directly on the Afghan Taliban. But Pakistan still insists that the root cause of these people, these groups, the leadership, according to Pakistan, is in Afghanistan. And I think the Pakistan, this stand also supported by every United Nations report, every discussion in the Security Council about Afghanistan. So Afghan Taliban will have to address to the genuine concern of Pakistan. If this issue is resolved, I don't think there is any major issue between Pakistan and Taliban government.
So, Fred Weir, my last question to all the panelists is this: that Taliban has been used as a proxy by international powers, so how you think that the recent cooperation between Russia and Afghanistan, is this to avoid that Taliban's can become a proxy of any other power, or this is something some other intention? And then, as you mentioned, that if there is some arms sales to the Taliban, so do you think that any reaction or embargo can be coming from the Western countries?
Well, I don't think the Taliban is a proxy for anybody. They've endured for so long and triumphed in Afghanistan against such odds. I think they're fiercely independent, and they seem to have, I mean, I'm no expert on Afghanistan, but they seem to have consolidated control over most of the country. And now they're going to act in their own interests as they see it and move forward. As for the Russians, I think that the other panelists are absolutely right. The main concern in Moscow is security and stability in Central Asia. They remember, we all remember the 1990s when the Taliban first came to power, the unrest, the civil war in Tajikistan, the terrorism that spread throughout the Russian Caucasus. So this is something that nobody wants to see repeated. And I'm not saying that Afghanistan was the sole cause of any of that, but it was very much at the heart of it. And when the Americans went in there in 2001, I well recall that the Russians cheered them on and supported them and agreed to them setting up air bases to support that war in Central Asia. Now, the Russians have come to regret that very much. The geopolitical pendulum has swung a lot, but I think that this is the key. The Russians want good relations with the Taliban to keep a lid on things in Central Asia.
So, Dr. Wazeen, my question is this also, that how you think that Taliban being used as a proxy, especially by any regional or international powers, and then I think that Taliban sensitive moments when they are cooperating with other countries. So how you see that their hard stance towards the girls' education and especially towards the women's that West portray in a very different way?
Yeah, I don't agree with the term that Afghanistan can be used as a proxy against any country. Right? I totally disagree with this notion or this kind of Afghanistan. Non-Afghans, if we are fought to the Soviet Union, we fought for our independence, for our country against the occupation. What happened against the American, which was the one nation was fighting for the independence of our country, for the sovereignty of our country. So Afghans never been not fighting for proxy, and because if there may be some common elements, common interests between Afghans and non-Afghans in some specific issues, like it was in the against Soviet Union in Afghanistan, it may be or some against Americans in Afghanistan, but we should not. Afghans never been a proxy, not used by different countries. I disagree. Maybe some people just say this. This number one, and also that all Afghans are differing from each other from the point of view, ideologies, politics. But all Afghans they do what they believe that it is in the best interest of the nation in Afghanistan. This is so therefore, I think that the current authorities in Afghanistan, although we may oppose some of their policies regarding the women education, regarding the constitution, the state in Afghanistan, their policies, But I think they are behaving, acting independently, not on behalf of any specific country. This is we should as Afghans we should insist on this. So Western countries, which was they were in Afghanistan, present for 20 years in Afghanistan, and they finally defeated in Afghanistan. They acknowledged, they say that we are defeated. Not generals say that. The Soviet Union generals and politicians were saying that we was defeated in Afghanistan. NATO and the American, they say clearly, Donald Trump acknowledged this, and the defense minister said that we are defeated in Afghanistan. We are not in Afghanistan, because we say, of course, but they say that we are defeated in Afghanistan. We are, so therefore, the question of is it is to be the current authority behave or act as a proxy. I think it is out of question. This is number one. This is our point. And also, this is regarding the women education, other policies. We, as Afghans, we oppose. We differ from the policy of current authorities in Afghanistan, but this is a quite internal affairs in Afghanistan, internal issues. So therefore, we struggle for that. We try to convince the current authorities to reopen the universities and the colleges and the schools for the girls. We also we insist. I'm the chairman of the Afghanistan movement for the understanding and reforms. We insist, Taliban, that current authorities, that they should bring reforms. And we struggle politically. Nobody in Afghanistan want fight. Again, we didn't want internal fighting in Afghanistan, which is this is ridiculous. But we continue our struggle, political struggle in Afghanistan. We try to convince them, to pressurize them, to say yes to the people demands in Afghanistan. So this issue should totally be separated from the internal issues. Should be separated from the Western agendas in Afghanistan. We may have So therefore, and also we don't say that the West is sincere in supporting women education in Afghanistan. We do not believe that, because they are not sincere in that. So therefore, we hope that the things are going forward in a better way, and this is our hope.
So Tahir Khan, you have been covering and mean that you have very deep experience of Taliban's sociology and everything. So how you see that why their hard stance towards the girls' education when they are cooperating with the international community? So why still they have that very hard stance towards the women education? And because this obviously this gives a very negative impact, especially in today's world. So how you comment?
There are different opinions, even within the Taliban. I still remember that when Taliban took over, because the decision came later. So some people, even some religious scholars whom I met in Kabul, they publicly supported the girls' education, because they think that the education is equally obligatory on both male and female. And for the first time, Wazeen Saab would know, during Mullah Umar, no one would speak publicly against whatever Mullah Umar would decide. But about this decision, I still remember Sher Abbas Tanakzai, the Deputy Foreign Minister, who was publicly speaking in favor of education. Even Mullah Yaqub, to some extent, the Interior Minister, Sirajuddin Haqqani, and also the Defense Minister, Amir Khan Muttaqi, the Foreign Minister, and Abdul Salam Hanafi, the Deputy Prime Minister. So other people also, they speak to some extent in favor of this. But unfortunately, some people who I would say they have a very major role in policy making, they think that the girls' education is not obligatory. We don't need girls' education. And because they think that Islam doesn't allow this education, and the women should stay inside home. They should not. They don't need. They should go outside. So I think this is a very weak argument that you say that this is not obligatory, and But unfortunately, we cannot be like Dr. Saab said, we can only tell them that because I remember when I would visit Qatar and I would interview the Taliban political leaders in Qatar, in Doha, they would say that girls' education would be allowed. And this is the commitment with the world community. Even if you don't speak about international community, Afghans want girls' education. Because for the last 5 years, there was no medical education. Even the medical training for women was also closed. So this is very unfortunate. You will not have female doctor in the near future, and many Afghans, male men, they don't want that their women should go to the male because sometimes you need a woman, a female doctor. So let's see, because sometimes Taliban say it is a technical problem, but now 5 years has passed. So this technical problem should have already been resolved.
Thank you very much for this wonderful panel. I really appreciate Fred Weir, who joined me from Moscow, Professor Dr. Fazl Hadi Wazeen, he joined me from Ankara, and Tahir Khan, very pleased to talk with you. He joined from Islamabad. Thank you very much for your deep insight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.